Hi, in this video we're going to look at enabling and using labs, which to me are must-have Google experiments. Apps Mail labs are new features in Google Mail that have not been fully vetted and integrated into your regular Google Mail. If you're using Google Apps for EDU, your administrator has to turn on labs in order for you to use them, and most of them do. If they're not available to you, please ask your administrator if they will enable them for your use. Each lab is called an experiment as they're not guaranteed to work perfectly 100%, but I've never had one not work for me. So even though they're not guaranteed, they're pretty reliable. So in your Gmail panel, how do you get to labs? Well, you go over to settings, the gear in the top right hand corner, and you click on settings, and you're looking for the labs tab. Here you can see mine is right here. Sometimes it scrolls off the screen or onto a second row. Just find the word labs and click on it. Now by default, nothing is enabled, and then you have to go through and enable certain labs. So what labs do you enable? There's a pretty long list, and they're all listed alphabetically. If you scroll down the list, you can see there's a lot of choices. You won't know what you want necessarily, so you'll have to try things out. Why not take a recommendation from me? I have about 5 or 6 that I recommend that you enable right off the bat. The first one that everybody is so relieved to know that is available is called Undo Send. You can search for it by typing the word undo in the search for lab area here, and then you can just enable that lab. So I searched for the Undo Send lab, and you can see it's right here. So I'm going to click on Enable. Now, oops, yeah. So in the written part of my tutorials, you'll see that there's other labs to enable. When you save the labs that you've enabled, by default, it will bring you back to your mail settings. So we've enabled your mailbox. We've enabled one lab and it brought us back to the mailbox. Now, Undo Send settings can be modified. So I click back on Settings, and I'm going to scroll down General. And I have Undo Send now added to my general settings and a cancellation period of 10 seconds, but I can change that to 30. And I recommend you do because you want the maximum amount of time to change your mind. So if you accidentally send somebody a mail that you didn't want to send, or you forgot the attachment, you have 30 seconds to unsend it. So I'm going to say Alice and Malika at gmail.com, send this, send, and then see I have undo send up here. So I'm going to click on undo because I forgot to add the attachment. Now in this case, I'm not doing anything with this, so I can simply discard it. Let's go back to labs, and I'll tell you about a few other labs that you can enable, and you can go ahead and do those. Go ahead and enable default text styling. This allows you to modify your default email text body, so bold, color, font style, size, etc. And some people really like to personalize their default body, so I recommend that. The other is, oh darn, I saved again, is insert image. Now by default, when you add an image to email, it's going to be attached, and most people don't know there's an option to get it to embed in the email. All you have to do is enable the insert image gadget. So I'm going to enable that one. And then you can also, right below this, says recently used emoji, or so if you want to be looking at emoticons, there's one if you scroll down. Now I'm just going to scroll down and recommend some certain ones to enabled. Canned responses allows you to make templates of emails, and I would enable that as well. And you can add some more emoticons. And I think that's about it. Oh, send and archive. Let's see if that's down there. Send and archive, yes. So if you have an email that's already labeled, or you're sending a reply back that says, yeah, yes, I want to go, and you never need that email again, if you just hit send, it's going to be in your inbox and you have to then go and delete it or archive it. If you have this enabled, you'll have the option to send and archive, which just saves you an extra step. So now that I have those all chosen to be enabled, I'm going to click on Save Changes. And when you go to labs in your settings, you'll see that those are at the top, the ones that you've enabled. So if I want to use canned responses now, I click on Compose, and I could be sending this out, or I could just be making a welcome back letter, let's say. And there's a variety of text here. Dear parent, don't forget this, don't forget that. You can click on canned response and new canned response and say it's the welcome back letter. And then click OK to save. Perfect. Then you can go ahead and discard that letter. Now when you go to compose, oh, let me send that welcome back letter, and all the text that you made will appear there. That's called canned responses, and that's one of the labs that you just enabled. If you want to reply to an email and do the send and archive, now you can scroll down. Oh, now you can hit reply, and now you see the option to send and archive that mail. And finally, default text styling, you can modify in settings. After you enable it, you just scroll here and it says default text style. So if you make it bold and a different font and a different color, and you save that, every time you compose an email message, so click on compose, it'll be that color and style. So those are the labs that I would enable. To just recap what we did is we went into labs, so we clicked on the gear, and we went into settings and we found labs, and we enabled these labs: undo send, send and archive, default text styling, canned responses, extra emoji, which I call emoticons, and inserting images. I hope you found this tutorial helpful and fun at the same time.